Hello, guys. I'm here to talk about my stories of how I became active in the paranormal. It's not every day somebody gets tossed in. Anyway, my the first story, I was 4 years old at the time, and my mom, she's always on me. Gotta take a nap. Gotta take a nap. Okay, gotta take a nap. Whatever. I'm not tired. I was not tired. So I said, okay, I'll go upstairs and I'll take a nap. Yeah, no, I'll pretend to take a nap. So I went up there. I played with my dolls as usual, and I'm going to be showing some images here. Uh, let me see a screen. I don't know if I can show the screen or what, but to give you an idea of things that I saw. Okay, I was only 4 years old at the time. And when you're 4 years old and you see something like this, it's unreal. I don't know if it was a demon. I don't know if it was an alien. I don't know if it was an angel. Hello, Stacy. Um, but I can tell you, uh, it was not a pretty sight for sure. Uh, I had this feeling of being watched. I don't know if I can share images on here or not. I'm trying to see if I can, but I can't share. I can share video, but I can't share images. But, let me see here. Okay, I'll figure that out later. But anyway, I had this feeling that I was being watched. Okay. And when you get that feeling of being watched, you're looking around paranoid and you're like wondering what the hell it is. And being at 4 years old, you don't know these things. Uh, but when I did find out what was watching me, it was two white heads, red eyes, no bodies attached to them at all. They were just watching me. They didn't say a word, nothing. They just watching me. You know, and I tell you what, the scream that came out of my mom come running up them stairs. She flew open the door. She flew open that door. They went poof. And my mom's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I told her what happened. She said, "Oh, you was just dreaming." I said, "No, I was not dreaming. I didn't go to sleep like he told me to. I told on myself, basically." He gave me that look. I thought I was just playing my Barbies until I did fall asleep, but I didn't fall asleep. I was wide awake, like I'm talking to you right now, and I told her what I saw, and she just brushed it off like it was a nightmare or something. Uh, you know, she turned around and left like nobody's business, and you know, uh, to this very day, when you have something so terrifying happening to you at such a young age, you remember detail of where, time, how many, what. It don't matter. You remember that. It's right there in your skull and it's not going to go away. I never seen those heads again. But that same very year, in the same house, when I was the same age, I was helping my mom do laundry, and I was carrying a small basket. It was about, I don't know how I could do this thing. Well, the basket itself was about maybe 3 feet wide, and 2 feet the other way. You know what a basket, clothes basket is. Anyway, the wall from the staircase was about 4 to 5 feet wide, and I was in the middle. There was no way I could have lost my balance and went tumbling down. I was actually shoved. I felt something shove me down those stairs. And there was 26 flights of stairs. I know I counted them every single day, going up and down, up and down. Drove my mom nuts for that. OCD kicking in. But I ended up in the clothes basket that was in my hands, that was on the bottom, that met the bottom floor before I did. I don't know how or why or what. Okay. But I ended up in that clothes basket. And my mom comes running out. She's looking at me like, you need to be careful, you could have hurt yourself really bad. I'm like, I was shoved. Somebody pushed me. She didn't believe me with that either. Or at least at the time I didn't think she did. She tried to brush it off again. She goes, just next time be careful where you're stepping. Be careful where I'm stepping. Well, the year after that, there was something down in that basement. We had a basement. There was something down in that basement because every now and then I would hear voices coming up in the vents from down there when there's nobody there. My aunt used to sleep in the basement. Okay. And I told her this story. She goes, don't say that. I had to sleep down there. That was funny. But I told my mama, I'm not going down in that basement. I don't care what you do, you ain't going to make me go down that basement. She even put my old 1969 wooden rocking horse down there, which was my favorite thing to ride all the time. She put that down there thinking I'd go down there. No, I didn't go down there. Mm-mm. Nope, nope. Sure as hell won't go down there. I don't care if they had a whole bunch of candy down there. I won't go down there. I'm stubborn. Okay. And you're at that age, you don't know these things that are going on, but you know there's something there. You feel it, you see it. People back then think you were, they brush it off like, oh, you're just having a nightmare or you're a little bit crazy, delusional. We're talking about the 60s here, okay? And that stuff ain't unheard. That it's not popular like it is now, you know. So years later, I asked my mom. I said, "Remember that time I was in the bedroom screaming my head off and told you what I saw? Blah 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 blah." And she's like, "Yeah, I remember that." I said, "You were just trying to protect me, saying there was nothing there. That was all me." She goes, "Yeah, it was." I said, "That place was haunted, wasn't it?" And she goes, "Yeah." I said, "Thank you for clearing that up." I told her, "I said, thank you for doing your best for protecting me, but you didn't have to because I could see them." I told her, and she always said, she goes, "I always knew you were gifted." I said, "You would know things before they even happen. You would bring me stuff before I even asked you to bring it, that sort of thing." But she didn't want to bring that up either, you know. And I said, "Yeah, you're right." I said, "There's a lot of things I do that kind of surprised the hell out of me." I said, "All this time I've been seeing all these things. I thought I was going crazy." She goes, "No, you're not going crazy. It's a gift. Some people say it's a curse." To me, I feel like it's both. Because I don't get no rest, no rest for the wicked, so to speak. But I haven't really had much of anything happen after a certain age. It's like after was it 10 or 12 years old, it kind of like died down. The paranormal kind of died down. It's like they were trying to give me a childhood thing to do first before it picked back up again. From that time up until 2 years ago, everything just hit me all at once. Bam! I'm seeing this. I'm seeing that. What the hell are you? You know, where am I? What do you want? That sort of thing. Okay? And when I'm saying, who are you? Where am I? What am I? I've been taken all my life. Not many believe in aliens, but hey, that's fine. Okay. I've been taken all my life. And I think that's what I saw in the bedroom were two aliens, probably grays. Some of the grays have red eyes, some have black eyes, some have, depending on who they are and how good they are. Okay, the eye color change, whatever. But I got markings on my body. I got a triangle with a circle around it on my shoulder. I have no clue to what it means or anything like that, but a couple of people mentioned that, well, you've been taken and they branded you. I'm like, oh, gee, what? They brand me now? And I got marks on my inside of my thigh that look like a map, a map of Lyra, which is where the Lyrans come from. They are a feline alien race who has been on this earth for eons. They're still here. They just keep, you know, quiet. I know. I see them watching me. I got images of them, and that's who I could be attached to. I'm not sure, but I've seen them around my property. I've had a alien ship land in my property. It was in stealth mode, but I could tell it was there. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can bring that up. I'm gonna get on my channel here, and I'm gonna try and pull it up and see if I can't show. I have it unlisted for a reason. Um, you know, because I don't need that type of attention. Okay, I think I'm on I gotta sign this out. But I don't want that type of attention. I don't want CIA. I don't want any kind of men in black crap show up. That sort of thing. And which I've already got a warning by one of them. Actually, I think it was men in black, but it was a female. I'll get to that later. But this ship that I saw, I couldn't actually exactly see the ship, but I knew it was there because you could see it descending. Okay, it was descending, and when you got security cameras around the place, and they got motion detection on any type of motion out in your yard, any type would show up, and that's what happened. Just give me 1 second here. Um, Trying to find it. Okay, here we go. Download that. And bring it up over here. But I'm gonna show this to you. So I want you guys to Okay. Here we go. I'm going to mute this. Okay, now watch it carefully. You see it's really dark. You see it's at 5 o'clock in the morning. The sun didn't come up until around 7 because look at the date. This is last year in November. Okay, you see the light, security lights come on. Okay, you see that. Just watch it carefully. You can see something coming down. Okay, you see it's secure. There's no other lights in the area. It's very private. And it's a pretty big backyard. The cameras start distorting. When cameras start distorting like that, radiation. Radiation causes distortion in cameras and video cameras. Anytime there's a UFO or alien related nearby, it would cause distortion. Just give it a moment. It'll take a moment. You probably see the extra light pop on. Maybe if I slow it down just a little. You see that circle right there? Right here, this big round circle, you can see something coming down. There's an indication right there that there was nothing there before. There's a big circle, there's extra lights pop on, and it's the sun hasn't shut. You see that right there? Wait. Wait a second. Let's see if I can't pause this real quick. Let's give it a moment. There we go. I paused. Crap. Give it a moment. Get down. Right about. I missed it. I have to go back a little more here. I think I missed it. Okay. Being stubborn now. Sorry about the in and out here. Trying to find that one part. I don't know why it's not doing it now. It's really weird. It was just here. I'm looking. Sorry for the pause here. This right here. There's some sort of shaft that came down out of the ship that was there in the yard. You saw the distortion part. Here it comes. Okay, it's right about here. There we go. You see that right there? That something came out of that elevator shaft. You notice the distortion in the camera. Okay, that is an elevator shaft. You see that? That's how I know something was there. Anyway, that's how I know there was a UFO right there. It was a three-man cedar, and this thing here, whatever it was that came out, had a hood-like shape. It was heading towards my RV. Somebody else also noticed two other aliens moving around the other side of the shed there. I didn't see anything that resembled them, and they said it looked like manatees. I'm like, they're not manatees. I don't know. Manatees are the ones that wear robe hooded like clothing, to disguise themselves. But it could have been. But that's what happened on that day. That's pretty wild. But yeah, anyway, that is what I saw that day. I could spot these beings through their stealth mechanism. I saw on the video what that was. I also saw some on my rooftop, grays, one standing outside my window. He was pretty tall. I had one run past me live while I was on Facebook. Mm, yeah, that don't happen every day. Okay, that does not happen every day. Anyway, onto the vivid dreams that I had. I don't think these were dreams because they were just too real. I was in here. I went to sleep really quick, And I don't usually go to sleep fast like that. Okay. There were two beings that came in here. One was a 7 foot tall white being. He was a hybrid. He was known as a Talo, Talo. They live underwater in the ocean. They got bases down there. Yes, they got bases down there. The other one was a 5'7" in height. He was a more darker skin, and he had a full head of hair, which is unusual. But I'm guessing he was a hybrid too. Okay. And these things I need to turn on my light here. Oh, it's off bright. Sorry about that. But they came in, looked at me, asked me if I wanted a joint contract. A joint contract for what? I didn't know. I agreed. But I didn't know what the hell they was wanting a joint contract with me and why. Instead of being um, quiet about it, like not going into detail, they could tell me the detail before saying that. But I woke up right after I said that. I woke up. I noticed my security camera was broken. It wasn't broken when I went to sleep, but it was broken when I woke up. So I know that was not a dream. That means they were actually here talking to me. It looks like it's going to rain. Good. They were here talking to me. I said, well, at least you can leave me $25 to repair that stupid camera you broke. It was like, you're going to break something of mine and leave something behind to give me something to repair it because they're expensive. Next dream, same thing. I fell asleep really quick. I woke up in a diner in the middle of nowhere. How I got there, why I got there, I don't know. And this tall blonde, she had short blonde hair. She wore like a tan trench coat, um, like that guy on Supernatural wore the angel that wore that Castiel, whatever his name is, wore that trench coat, something similar. And she had this eyepiece in her eye. And it was about that thick around and about that wide. It fit her eye totally, all the way around. And she had red, green, blue dots on it. And whenever it was scanned, it turned red. Green means normal, off, not scanning, nothing blue. I don't know what blue meant. She came in there. She came up to my table, sat down like she owned the damn place, you know. And she turned and looked at me and she said, I hear you've been talking about us. They use the term us and we, not I, me, or you, because they're one. They talk as one. So it's we and us. That's how they communicate mind wise from everybody. Everybody knows what everybody's thinking, basically. And I looked at her and I said, and? No, I said, I was being a smart ass. I was like, and? She looked at me again. She's scanning me. She found what she was looking for. She got up in a haste and left. And then she paused at the door just before as she opened the door, she paused and she looked at me. And she said, be careful what you say about us. Again, warning. I'm possibly thinking MIB, maybe, I don't know. I don't even know if MIB is actually a thing or if it's just a made up stuff, but they probably had their own Secret Service crap, you know. So that was the end of that one. Next one I had, as always, same thing, fall asleep real quick. I woke up in a room. It was really dark. I could hear children. There was a person standing next to me. I couldn't really make them out. I didn't see no windows. I couldn't look out. Nothing. You know, just a room. And she led me into another room. And it was a female because the way she handled herself, the way she was like she talking to me through telepathy, and the voice came off as female. And then she led me to the room. The children, so many children, all different sizes, races, color, you name it. There's some children that are hybrid that can't come back to Earth because of how they look. Big eyes, different figure, form, whatever other things they had on them, they couldn't go back and have a normal life on Earth because of the way they looked, which is a shame. You know, there were just so many of them. And she was going on telling me this is their nursery and they took care of the children. And I think the reason why they showed me this because I had a couple of hybrid children myself. I don't remember them. I don't remember having them or giving birth or anything like that to them. I don't remember that. They cut that all out. But she took me up there and she showed me around and I saw this guy. He looked like a guy to me. And he sat in this chair, like this big chair, kind of like a throne like. And he looked like he was like the watcher of the children, kind of like, you know, sat there kind of like a babysitter sort of like thing. Everybody had a job to do, you know, and his job was to watch the children. So he kind of looked at me, and I looked at him. I didn't say anything. I just looked around. I'm like, okay, and that was it. I wasn't told anything. I just woke up, and it's like I remember that. I'm like, why are you showing me this? They're showing me bits and pieces, not at once, but kind of like gradually getting me into the field of them even existing. I already knew they existed. I mean, I'm not one of those type of people that are sleepers that don't know, that say, well, aliens are demons. No, they're not. They may look like demons, they're not demons. They're people. They just look different. And if everybody could treat them the same way without looking at them, their their features look on the inside instead of the outside of the shell, it's what on the inside that really counts. You know, and we would live in a better world if people did that instead of being mean, hateful, racist, and killing everything. Why? I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's just really painful. Um, but whew, intense. Sorry, I get very emotional on this because I think that's the message they're trying to pass on. They want us all to be at peace. They want peace. That's all they want. They're not here to attack or anything like that. They want peace. It ain't going to happen, though. Guarantee it ain't going to happen. We could always try, but you got people in office that want power, money, all this other stuff. You know, they ain't going to have it. I guess this is all about my dreams for today. Hopefully, I don't have any more. Well, I don't mind. But anyway, I'm going to get off here and thank you for watching. And I hope you all have a wonderful day.